Hey, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby, and I am joined today by Mr. Erik Kuna.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
It's going well. Are you enjoying our new mics?
I am. I'm enjoying it with these new windscreens.
We have new windscreens. It's very exciting. Very exciting. Anyway, very glad to have you guys here. Thank you for being here today, Erik.
Thanks.
We have an interesting topic today. So our topic today is, are robots going to steal your job?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. And the answer, of course, is yes. And then they will kill you. But until then, we're going to talk about some things that are related to photography and design and stuff like that. Lots to talk about today. We have some interesting things. We are about 1 week from today. Photoshop World pre-conferences start. And it's not too late to come. If you want to come to Orlando and join us, it is starts next Wednesday is pre-conference, so the day before the conference.
Yeah, we have a few pre-conferences still, spots available. Some,
most of them are sold out, but we have a couple of available, so you can still come. And then the conference is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it's not too late to come because people are signing up. I saw a bunch of people signed up last night. So if you want to come, absolutely, we would love to have you. It's at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida. So please come and join us.
Fran says, "Hey, Scott and Erik, can't wait to see you at Photoshop World next week."
And then she said, woo, woo. So Fran is coming all the way from the UK. We're very excited to have her there. Let's see who else is here. We got some shout outs here. Mengfors is here from Stockholm, Sweden. And Loopy is in the house from CLT. Now, CLT, that's an airport. What is that? Cleveland? Is it CLT? I don't know. We'll have to look it up. Don't quiz us on air. If it's not ATL for Atlanta, or JFK, we really...
TPA, Charlotte.
Or TPA. Charlotte. All right.
Thanks to Google's artificial intelligence.
All right. Rose, now we know Rose is from New Zealand. She says, there's a cyclone heading down the island here in New Zealand. I guess I'll be stuck inside for the next 2 days. Time to catch up on some Kelby 1 classes. Well, that's a perfect time. Stay safe there, Rose. So anyway, wanted to tell you that. Also want to give a big shout out. Hey, I don't have my computer connected. I have to shout out with my computer connected. So 1 second. I'm connecting to the control room, and there we go. Want to let's show my screen here. Want to give a big shout out. Whoops! To Mr. Oh, I just messed up the screen resolution. To Mr. Rob Foldy. So that is Rob signing his contract to be the official team photographers for the Miami Marlins, who are a Major League Baseball team here in the NL East. And congratulations to Rob. He's a tremendous photographer and a really, really great guy. We were very, very proud and excited for him. So congratulations to Rob Foldy, who's been a guest here a number of times.
You have to get him a raincoat because they're the most rained out team in the.
Is it the most rained out team?
Most rain delayed and rained out team right there.
Well, you know, Rob, he always said, "I want a team where I don't have to work all the time."
Yeah, that would make sense.
That was exactly his words exactly. All right, so a couple other things. Jen is not in the forums today, so Rachel, who is our social media mistress, is manning the duty today. So be kind to her. It's her first time. She's kind of new at all this. Now, she's not new at talking to people. She's been doing it for years now. But this is her first time moderating the Grid Live. And of course, we simulcast to Facebook. So it's you got your hands full over there. But anyway, Jen's on vacation this week. She'll be back next week. And so in the meantime, we have other things going on. You know what's going on? Dennis is here. Fernando's here.
Yeah,
Fernando's here. He's going to be, he says, good evening from Portugal. Yeah. All right. Hey, Fernando, next month I'm coming to Lisbon. You better take me out shooting.
Really?
I'm thinking I'm going to go to Morocco and then fly to Lisbon for a couple of days. Hang out with Fernando and then back home. So that's Morocco, the plan as it stands right now. We'll see if Delta agrees with this plan. Dennis is here from Fort Worth. And Craig Henry says, Scott, thank you for the awesome Lightroom conference in Boston a few weeks ago. I wish you could go to the Photoshop World, but can't. Maybe you can go next year. I hope so. And hello from Illinois from Nick. He says, go Cubs, go. Yeah, there's Cubs. Will they do it again? I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. And hello from sunny Palm Springs from Sue. Johan's here. And let's say, he said, hey, is the Photoshop World pre-con and Adobe presentation going to be seen online again? We are streaming the keynote, aren't we?
Keynote streaming,
Keynote streaming, absolutely. And greetings from San Francisco Bay. All right, we got some giveaways. Oh, I got something. All right, so last week I mentioned that I am selling my 300 millimeter lens. So here it is. I went and took some pictures of it. So this is my 300 millimeter f2.8 Canon lens. It is absolutely pristine. It is absolutely mint because I only used it twice. I bought it thinking I was going to shoot a bunch of basketball, and I shot 2 games. And it has just been sitting there gathering dust, and there's other things that I would want to get in photography. I want to get a new body and stuff. So I am selling it at a great price. If you... it's about $500 under the value everyone else is selling it at. So if you're interested, send me an email at skelby, S-K-E-L-B-Y, my first initial, my last name, at photoshopuser.com. And in the subject line, put, I'm loose with money. And so I'll know that it's from you. Anyway, so skelby at photoshopuser.com. And we have some giveaways. Our friends at Lens Pro To Go sent us some more gift cards. They are $50 gift cards for Lens Pro To Go. So you can rent, let me turn towards the camera. Pow. So you can rent gear.
Yeah, when you lose your job.
Yep. Oh, look. As I say it, I look over. Rob from Lens Pro To Go here. Hey, Rob. Robert, thank you for these awesome gift cards. And we're going to give away a very extremely rare copy of my Lightroom CC book, Spiral Bound, baby. Spiral. You can't buy these in stores. You actually can't. You know why? Because bookstores won't stock a spiral bound book because the books sit like this and you're supposed to be able to read the name of the book. There's no spine, so we have to sell them internally. And this is a very rare,
collector's
awesome collector's edition. And you can win it here. Mint. It's mint. It's almost as clean and pristine as the lens that I am selling. All right, we're giving away both of those today to some lucky person. And then our topic, of course, is, are robots going to steal your job? Well, I can tell you, they absolutely are. They're already stealing people's jobs. And it can go one of 2 ways. So, Eric, I'll let you lead off here with your...
Well,
robots are going to steal your job.
I think that, this has been a hot topic lately because, a lot of people think that, with this AI and all the stuff that's coming out that, is it going to get to the point where, humans are going to become irrelevant? You got all those movies that come out and we see all that stuff growing up, that the future is going to be, all these machines doing everything for it. I just watched one
on the plane this week.
Yeah, but like Ex Machina, right?
Yeah, Ex Machina.
Well, it's kind of like that whole
was a
thing.
Creepy,
yeah, it's kind of creepy. But at the end of the day, do I think No, I don't think they're going to steal our jobs. But
they're going to change our jobs.
They're going to definitely change our jobs. And I think that's the key of what we were talking about today is if we embrace the changes that are coming, just like we all have to do, that we can be ahead of the curve as photographers, as designers, as creatives, to not have that affect us.
Right. Now, there was some Adobe software that came out that kind of sparked this
conversation. Well, yeah, they did that at Max last year. They kind of seeded out there that whole Sensei product.
Right.
So that's where Adobe, like I've got it up here on the screen, that they've got a site for it where they've got a little explanation of what Sensei is and stuff.
So what is Sensei?
So it's basically Adobe's trying to use machine learning, artificial intelligence, algorithms,
Skynet,
that kind of stuff, to basically transform the way we work to make us more efficient. I really think that's what it's about. Everybody's like, oh, they're gonna, Skynet, right? But actually, they released a video about just a little while ago about this. It's Adobe Research Potential Future of Selfie Photography.
Oh, okay. Can we see it?
Basically, what it is Adobe's trying to make your selfie portrait more flattering by using artificial intelligence and machine learning to make your photo better. So really what it is like they have adjustments in there.
Is there audio with this, or is it just like...
I don't know if they might be hearing audio. We might not be hearing audio. But basically Adobe describing, the techniques that you can do to your photos to like change the background, change the depth of field, change the perspective, so you can make a better portrait, as they call it, right? And then this is the other technique that they showed, was applying styles, where you could go to a photo online and select a photo, and it would try to recreate the effects that are on that photo using that machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Oh, now that's cool.
It is cool. I mean, there is part of it that you're like, Well, you could just teach people how to take better photographs. I mean, that would be kind of cool too.
But if you teach people how to take better photographs, it doesn't teach them how to do those looks.
No, and that's true. I mean, and that's where it has its place. I definitely think it has its place. That's where I think what it's going to do is if we embrace it, especially, it's going to just make us faster. We can get through iterations faster. Clients have changes. We can show them multiple revisions of stuff faster. We don't have to be stuck in the administrative part of our job. You know, that's a lot of times what we're doing is we're being creative. We're trying to get a look, but then we're trying to tweak it. If you're having to show a client a bunch of different examples, perfect case would be another one. Is this other one that Autodesk showed, which is this is not really related to photography, but it's pretty cool what they're doing. And if you think, hey, photography and design, how could they apply this? Well, what they're doing here is they're actually using a computer to iterate through designs of a device. So what the person does is defines the problem. Basically, what am I trying to solve? What am I trying to solve? What's the problem? And then the computer will actually go through and iterate designs for the person so they can see how the design would change based on the problem. And then they can get through multiple revisions of one piece of hardware in a matter of days, where that would take sometimes with research and development years. Wow. You know, so I mean, that's really cool how they're able to go through and the computer is able to show you, hey, what if we did this? This might solve this problem. What if we did this? This might solve that problem. So you're defining the problems and then making a design based on algorithms and artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Okay, so now let's apply this to photography, because the other day, and I tried to find it, I wasn't able to find it earlier, but the other day, and I'm going to say this was in the last 30 days, and that's probably why it was a little hard to find. I saw an article, and I want to say it was either on Petapixel or F-Stoppers, about a completely automated headshot machine. It basically, someone walks into the machine, it takes headshots from all different angles, it does it all automated, and no photographer necessary. Like, it was completely, like, you bring it in a company and set it up, everybody walks through, you stop for a moment, it takes your headshot and you move on. It takes it with like 10 different cameras, then you just go and choose the one that's the most flattering, the one that looks best to you, and they basically taken the photographer out of the equation. Yeah. And so, is that it?
I don't know if that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, Iris. Yeah.
Yeah, is this it? Do they have a video?
I don't see one.
But look.
But basically, I mean,
where's the photographer? I just see a booth.
And that's kind of like, I think there is that like thing that's happening where there's certain setups where they think, well, if you just set up a certain thing and then snap the picture, you know, as long as we're meeting those certain criterias, the picture works.
I love Joanne's comment. Joanne says, I don't work. My photography is my hobby. And I don't see a robot taking as bad of photos as I do, so I am not worried. Now, Johan.
Well, you know, actually, so I've seen, this is another company that's starting up that's doing this.
Who's this?
And this is called Relaunch. So basically, their business is they're selling you a camera that will take a photo, and then they're applying a logarithmic learning to your photos, uploading it to their servers, processing the photo, and then spitting it back to you and saying, hey, do you like this? And it's learning your style and what you like, and it's actually processing the photo. I'll show you the video. I mean,
is a computer doing it, or
it's
a person?
Yeah, it's a computer doing it. So what it is it's a little weird. I mean, this is kind of pushing it out there, but basically, you know, we take these photos. Sometimes they're not what we want them to be. So then they'll process the photo using a machine to make it look like the style that we like. And it's an interesting concept, because it's gonna, like, you know, through that design process, be able to give you photos that you like. And it's weird. It's
and you have to use their camera?
You have to use their camera right now. So they send you the camera. It's a startup. It's very, very basic right now.
Is it up and running?
Yeah, it's up and running right now. Actually, if you're in California, you can participate in this. You actually take them, your old DSLR, trade it in, and it's on their website. You trade it in, and they give you credits towards using their software. So it's $1 a picture. is their model. So and they process your pictures, and then you pick which ones you want. It's called camera as a service, which is it's interesting, because if you look at it, like, it's basically this camera, and you're taking these photos, and I think they have it on here. Where is it?
Do you have to use their camera?
Yeah, right now I think
I saw
you
a phone
do.
in there.
Well, actually, I think honestly what it is right now.
It's that dude. He
Yeah,
does it. You send it to him. His name's Erik.
No, but see, that's what it does. Is it brings back these pictures, and then right now that's what they're at. They're at that first stage where people are sending in their cameras and getting back this model, and then it's processing it, and it's learning how to edit photos. So the computer is actually learning right now how to edit the photos and process the photos. And then as it goes, it's going to get smarter to edit photos to your specific style.
I don't like this.
Huh?
I don't like this,
Weird.
Erik. I don't like this one
Creepy.
bit. Hey, Stephen Perry says that
Creepy.
robots taking your job. He says it's never going to happen. The creative spirit is nothing that will ever be robotized.
I agree.
Steve Perry, let me just say this. This is the reason why they kicked you out of Journey. It's because of wild statements like that. No, and you know what? He's got a really, actually, all joking aside, he's got a good point.
No,
because
definitely.
the one thing that you can do is stuff that is learned. Because learned stuff is, this photo's underexposed, this photo is backlit. So, because you could even just tell someone, if your photo's backlit, you would move the shadow slider to the right. That you can teach a machine.
Yes, exactly.
But it's the creative stuff that's the thing that makes us human.
Exactly, and that's where I think that this is going, right? So if we embrace it, right, it's going to get us to the better photo to start with, right? So you could actually think about it this way. Say there was a point at which that auto button in Lightroom actually worked really good, right? That it actually learned your style.
Yeah, it does not learn anything.
But it doesn't right now.
You mostly.
It punishes you. But what if it learned how you process and how you style, and learn by the style of the photograph, like you were talking about sports photos? What if it could pick up numbers on people's jerseys? What if it could do stuff like that and save you time? It's going to just get us to the end quicker, to where we can then apply our creativity. So I think that's where it's going, where a lot of this stuff is going, is letting us iterate faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's letting us get through iterations faster.
Yesterday, a woman, speaking of like getting to your work faster, a woman was at my seminar in Detroit. By the way, shout out to all the photographers who came out to my seminars in Detroit and Chicago. Like 600 something photographers came out. A woman came up on one of the breaks and said, "Is there a way in Lightroom?" And when I say this, you're going to go, "Ooh, that would be great." Is there a way in Lightroom where it could? She's a sports photographer. That Lightroom would recognize numbers on jerseys, like someone's wearing a number 5, and it would look in your database and it would know that number 5 is Frank Johnson.
Awesome.
Cornerback Frank Johnson. So right now I subscribe to a service called codereplacements.com. So Code Replacements, you pay a monthly fee. No, I'm sorry, a yearly season fee. You pay a fee for like football season. And every week they generate an entire roster of the team. Now, both teams you're playing, you go in and say, okay, the Bucs are playing the Raiders. It generates a file for you that has all of everybody, the referees' names for the game, the coaches, the assistant coaches, special teams coach, everything and every player on both teams. Now, unfortunately, I can't load it into Lightroom. I have to load it into Photo Mechanic, because Photo Mechanic is what all sports photographers around the world use to and one of the reasons is it supports what are called code replacements. So when I see a player, like if I look at the photograph and I see number 5 is defending a pass of number 6, I just go, like, I use home team and visitor team. I go H5 / and it types in Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback number 5. All I have to write is defends a pass intended for, and then I hit the next number and it goes Oakland Raiders receiver, Bob Johnson or whatever his name is, number whatever. And it's it automates the process of having to do all that metadata stuff. So what she was saying was, what if we went one step further? What if Lightroom actually recognized the number and put it in for you? So imagine that I opened up the photograph, right? And that's the kind of AI I think we can embrace. Right. I think like we're worried about it taking away too much. But it would be great if it took away some. You know how much easier it would make my life? I would go home an hour early from a game if it would read the numbers. Now, look at this. We have facial recognition, right? If we have facial recognition, how hard is it to recognize a printed number on a jersey? I should open up the image and it should already say number 1, just a space, number 7, a space. And all I have to do is open it up and type in defends a pass intended for. And that's it. I would be done. But instead, I do have to look it up, and it's like when you do that over 50 photos, you know, it's 50 minutes, and you wind up spending. Oh, what do you got there? What's that?
Well, this is one that I think was a concern of when we were talking about like video stuff and video production, and the team was looking at this, and that is. Well,
can we see that screen? Can we see Eric's screen?
This is actually a camera.
Oh, you're not connected. You dropped off here.
I dropped off. That happens, right? So this is a camera that will actually follow you around. So if you're moving, it actually has a sensor on you, and then it will follow your action, and it will follow you around. You can place multiple ones of these around and actually have a multiple camera shoot, a single camera shoot that's actually like your cameraman that's following you around.
All right. Can I say something about this?
Yeah.
I think this is a great idea. And I know that someone's watching this right now going, well, see, it's putting cameramen out of work.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This isn't putting any cameraman out of work, because you're not going to hire a cameraman on your vacation to go take a shot of you skiing. You're not going to hire a cameraman to shoot your son playing baseball. This kind of technology is because they already have. They have robot cameras now.
But what happens when this gets so good that it's around every stadium and all those cameramen that are over there that's just following action based on like some RFID code that's in their helmets?
Eric. Stop talking.
I don't know.
Stop talking.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, can I tell you something? I'm not as worried about that. I'm not as worried about an automated robot camera on the sidelines as I am being able to pull really high-res video. Stills out of video.
No, and I agree with you, and that's where you get down to it. I think this stuff is what it allows us to do. Again, a lot of the times, some of the stuff that I think it's doing, like that's administrative tasks, like what you're talking about there, like processing your photos and tagging them and making sure the numbers on there and the names on there. Like if we could get computers and we could get the artificial intelligence to focus on the administrative tasks and get us past that. You think about how much time. I mean, actually, I saw a study on this, and it was in the Business Review last year. It was talking about artificial intelligence. It was talking how, really, if you look at it, about 56% of our day is spent on those remedial administrative tasks for most people that are in even a creative field.
Yeah.
Right? If you could free up that time, what else could you do? Like, what else could you do?
Sleep in?
Well, yeah, you could sleep in, but you could do so much more creative stuff. So I think that's where I see a lot of this stuff going is you could really free up a lot of your day by just creating these tasks that are working in the background for you.
I would just love to see that kind of stuff in Lightroom.
I mean, that would be awesome. Like, you think it's possible because if they can recognize faces,
they could certainly
recognize other patterns because that's all it is it's an algorithm that recognizes eyes, nose, mouth.
Hey, Clinton Farrar says, I'm old enough to remember the same conversation about the advent of the personal computer.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So I remember years ago, and of course this is years ago, having a conversation with my dad. So I was a keyboard player at the time. And so I brought home this keyboard, and the keyboard was called a sampling keyboard. Today, every keyboard is basically a sampling keyboard, but there was a time where a sampling keyboard was a very special thing. And for those of you who aren't keyboard players, what a sampling keyboard does is they actually go into like a recording studio, a perfect thing. They'll get a beautiful like Steinway piano. They'll put a microphone on it, and they will tape each note. They'll make a recording, basically, of a note on the piano. They map that to your electric keyboard, so when you play a note, it sounds like a Steinway. It is actually, it's not like a synthesizer trying to make it sound like a piano. When you play the note, that's what a Steinway sounds like in a beautiful recording studio. So that's what a sampler is. And you would have horn sections, you'd have a trumpet, you'd play a note, and somebody actually went into a studio with a microphone, played that note, but they play B flat. They map it to now. It sounds exactly the same. So you can do a horn section, and you can do a saxophone and all. So I'm excited. I come home, and I go, Dad, I got the sampler keyboard. You got to sit down. It's going to blow your mind. And I start showing him, here's a sax. Now, when you play a sound, you have to play the sound like a sax player would play it, or it just sounds like honking. It doesn't sound like anything. So you have to play riffs that, sound like a sax. You have to play horns with a very staccato thing so it sounds like a horn section. You have to play whatever the instrument is like that instrument, but then it really sounds great. So I play all this stuff. I show Dad, look, here French horns, here's strings, here's pizzicato strings. I go through all this different stuff. And you know what my dad says? Well, that's it. It's going to put all the musicians out of work. That's it. Dad gets all upset. He's like completely freaked out.
See where it's going.
He's getting really, really upset. And I said, you don't understand. And I said, Dad, this isn't going to put anybody out of work. Well, how is not going to put? I said, here's how. I was never going to hire a string section, Dad. I'm playing at the Brown Derby, right? Dad, there's 4 of us in the band. I wasn't going to say, put the string section over here. I was never going to hire them. So what I've been doing my whole life, Dad, was buying synthesizers that try to emulate the sounds of strings, but never really sounded that good. So I never really, the band always sounded like, oh, synthesizer strings, Now it sounds like real strings. Now when I play a horn line, Dad, I wasn't going to hire a horn section. I was never going to hire a French horn player. But there's one song during the night where there's a little French horn, and I would love it to actually sound like a French horn. So that's a little of what's happening here, is that some of these things on the surface sound like they're threatening. Like just on the surface, they sound like they're threatening. But if it does, like for example, it made my product at the Brown Derby. It made our band sound better, tremendously better than it would have. It didn't unemploy anybody. It didn't employ anybody. It just made my product better because now it sounds more like the record. And I think with a lot of this stuff that you're seeing here, that I mean, like the robot camera you just showed, right? That's really for fun. But there'll be a point where that robot camera gets better. But you know what? Look at today. Now, this is going to sound like a really bad example, but you have people that go in every day all over the country that are flying drones and making a living with drones. Now, I know you say the word drones and people freak out, but I don't mean military drones, but you can include them if you want. But there are people who have a livelihood that 2 years ago did not make a penny from drones. Now they went into business and they're making their entire living for real estate photography using drones. There'll be people who work at Amazon that deliver packages that didn't have a job before, that have a job running drones. Now, Amazon was never going to hire tiny little pilots to fly around. That was never going to happen. You didn't put anybody out of business for that. But that's a new technology that actually is winding up employing people. So we don't have to be threatened by every single thing that comes along, because I think that is a very natural thing to do. But you know what else is a very natural thing to do? And that's take a break.
Take a break,
At this point, this is when we break. This is how we break.
The robot
This
told
is
us
what
to
we're all
break.
about. The robot told us to break. So, hey, Juan is running a robotic camera right there. We have another robotic camera over there. So we have a camera.
There's not even a cameraman there.
There is a camera that is moving right now, and there is no cameraman. Somebody's running it. It's moving on itself. Now, the difference is the person's not standing right there, but that camera is moving, and it's moving in a very creepy fashion. Anyway, it's time for a break. Don't go away, because robots are going to steal your job. Find out how after this break.
Hey guys, Terry White here, and I just finished recording my class on Adobe Stock. You're going to learn some great things about contributing to Adobe Stock, including things like how to keyword for success, what makes a great stock image, and most importantly, the entire process from start to finish, from getting your images ready, keywording, and submitting them for success. I look forward to seeing you in my class. So check it out only at kelby1.com.
Hey, Rick Salmon here. Thanks for joining me. I hope you can really check out my latest class here, my 14th class here on Kelby 1. It's called 20 Time Proven Rules of Composition. Now, before you write me the email, oh, Rick, there are no rules. That's true. These are really recommendations. You'll learn how to break the rules. You'll also learn about some of my photo philosophies. But when it comes down to it, remember that composition really is the strongest way of seeing. So again, I hope you enjoy the class. I'm Rick Salmon. I'll see you online.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Sweeney of Alon Studio, and I'm going to be teaching you all about family photography. We're going to go ahead and craft these really beautiful, timeless images for our clients that they will treasure for a lifetime. I'll be teaching you all of my tips, how I harness this really gorgeous, but often harsh light, what I do when I'm in a park setting and I'm working with dappled light beneath the trees, what I do at the beach in golden hour. Can't wait to teach you everything I know about family photography. So join me here at kelby1.com.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik Kuna.
Hey.
Hey, so you guys just saw that little trailer for Tracy Sweeney's new class. I'm seeing the comments in the Kelby 1 forum. So every time we put up a class, it gets its own discussion forum. So there's a little button right there on the class that says discuss this, so you can talk to other students and the instructor.
Yeah,
because Tracy's in there all the time. When a new class comes out, you know, Terry White's class, which has been a huge hit.
Yeah.
His stock photography class has been a huge hit.
Somebody just emailed today and telling us how they got approved and they're selling stuff in the store.
Selling stuff. All kinds of people are in there. And,
yeah.
And there's been some famous people that have joined after watching Terry's class. I don't want to say who, but some famous people sent us a note to say, hey, I watched Terry's class and I joined it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Tracy's class went up last week, and people are just loving it. This week's class, which comes out tomorrow, is from me.
Yeah.
It's called, ready? I got a great name for this. Everything Else in Lightroom, Part 1. So here's what I tried to do with this class. There are so many things that are topics that people want to know how to do, but it's not enough for a whole class, right? Like sometimes people say, how do you make like a copyright like template? How do you make that template in there? Or, you know,
it's like a quick thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a 6-minute thing or a 4-minute thing or whatever. So I just made a ton of those. I made a whole class. That's all that other stuff. Now you won't watch the class in order. You would go and say, oh, there's the thing I want to do.
I
want to learn how to create like a
named,
naming template, or I want to learn how to create, you know, a particular thing or deal with a particular issue or a problem. Or I want to learn how to create watermarks. That's another one people like ask a lot. How do you create a watermark? And how do you, if you do a watermark, how do you do it as a graphic? And how do you make the background transparent? All these things. So I just did a whole class of that. But when I put the outline together, it was so many things that it could not fit in one class.
Fernando's saying it's already out. So they must have released it today.
Oh, sometimes they do release it on
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And they release it Wednesday sometimes.
So Thursday is new class day, but apparently the class is already out.
Well, they like to get it in the cached and all the servers and CDN and robots.
That stuff, robots. So a robot probably put it up and they weren't authorized. But anyway, technically it goes tomorrow. So anyway, so go check that out. It's called Everything Else in Lightroom Part 1. And then, of course, there will be a Part 2, a Part 3 that I'm working on now, and there will probably, sadly, be a Part 4. There's a lot of these little straggling things that are important, but if you don't use them every day, you won't remember how, so that's what it's for. So Everything Else in Lightroom, Part 1. Boom.
Boom.
All right, can I tell you one more thing before we get into this? Okay, so I'm on the forums. I go in the forums like every day. Every day I'm in there, and I'm reading people that comment about the classes that I've done, right? And so I got a brand new class coming out today. I'll be all over it. But I saw a comment yesterday. So I'm teaching, you know, on my tour, on my Lightroom tour, I'm teaching about photo books. I actually show how to do photo books in the class. And I saw a guy write on my photo books class that, you know, by default, Lightroom wants to send your books to Blurb, right? It's like built in. You just go, oh, send to Blurb, and it goes right from Lightroom straight to Blurb. And he wrote, and this is important, that if you sign up for Blurb's newsletter, like they have a newsletter, you can just go, you know how it's basically it says, hey, I want to be on your newsletter, add me to your list. That every once in a while, 4 to 6 weeks, they'll send out a discount that is from 40 to 60% off the total cost of your book.
That's awesome.
Right. So here's what he says. I build the book, and I just leave it sitting there in Lightroom until I get the coupon. And he goes, then I get the coupon, that's when I print it.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Until the robot figures it out.
Until the robot figures it out.
Yeah.
I think I have his name. I'm just
no, that is really cool. And, you know, honestly, their printing is really good.
Dude,
like,
if you
really
upgrade your paper,
to that premium,
to their premium. All right,
the basic one's
it was from
basic.
G Baker. It was G Baker. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 40 to 60. It's 40 to 50% off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He says I would recommend them if you're on their mailing list. They occasionally send you vouchers for 40 to 50% off to make their prices more reasonable. I create a book in Lightroom, then I wait for the deal to come along. And he does say, "Oh wait, Scott has done a great job on his class on creating books from Lightroom." I will always read those comments. Always. But anyway, that's a great tip.
No, it is, and they're that premium paper. I mean, when they print it out,
Pro line,
it's like really nice. I mean, it looks better than, well, most books.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. If you're willing to spend a little extra amount of money to go for the Pro line paper, it's tremendously better. Got some comments here. Jock's Photo says robots could be good for nude photography. They don't get distracted. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, Robert Norris says, I saw that class by Terry, and it was awesome. I don't know if it'll work for me, but I am darn well going to give it a try. There you go.
And
there
Fernando
you go.
said, that's amazing class. Tracy did great. So, yeah, Tracy's class is awesome.
Bruno Miguel Santos says, I want my jetpack. That's it. We were promised a lot of things for the future. Yeah. So Florin has this comment about our topic. By the way, if you're just joining us, our topic is, are robots going to steal your job? And so Florin has this comment. Embracing the new technology can open new windows of creativity for us. We have to take advantage of that and be able to do more and get creative with the tools that we have access to. The future is coming. So I'll tell you, I've lived through a couple of transitions in my life because I'm very young. So I so remember going to Orlando, Florida. And this is quite a long time ago. And at the time, I was teaching PageMaker. This was before Quark wound up being the big thing, and then Adobe InDesign ate Quark's market to death. So everybody uses InDesign today, but there was a time where they didn't. So PageMaker was,
back at the turn of the century.
In fact, the first computer program that I ever used that wasn't on a server, like was actual portable computer. The first time I sat at a personal computer was in front of the application PageMaker. That's the first time I sat in front of a Mac, first time I sat in a program. I'll just tell you the story. I'm driving down the road, and I see a sign on the side of the road on US 19, and it says, do-it-yourself desktop publishing. I'd never heard of the phrase desktop publishing, but I just literally, the next day I came by and I thought, I'm just going to go ask them what that is. Because I was creating a newsletter. I was in a band at the time. I was creating a newsletter for the band, and I was basically typing it, right? And then after it looked, I realized how bad it looked. I took it to a print shop, and they would typeset it. One day I went to the print shop, and here's why I turned in. I went to the print shop to print my newsletter, and he's like, oh, we can't do it. And I go, well, why? He goes, well, our typesetter's not here. I go, you use a typesetter? He goes, yeah, they do it on this computer. It's called desktop publishing. That was the first time I ever heard the phrase. So when I'm driving and I see desktop publishing, I turn in, and the guy says, yeah, you rent the computer by the hour. I still remember it was $18 an hour and 50 cents a page that came out of a laser printer. I'm like, what's a laser printer? I mean, I had no idea. He had a scanner. I'm like, I didn't even know you could scan it. So he took my band's logo and scanned it in, and I had it as a graphic. I almost blacked out. I kid you not. So I built my first newsletter that day. I paid the $18. He sat with me and told me how to use PageMaker, right? I built our newsletter, and I was so thrilled I used every font he had on his computer. It looked like a ransom note. It was just all, well, it was like.
I know what you mean.
So it was a flyer, right? It was a flyer, and it was like I made it legal size. They made paper legal size at one point. It was 8 panels, and I used a different font for every panel. And I was so proud. I came home and showed Calibra, honey, look, I did this on a computer. Anyway, so that was my first thing. So after a while, I was using PageMaker for everything. I actually quit my day job and opened a graphic design firm based around PageMaker, freehand, While I was there, I learned Photoshop. Photoshop was already at 2.0 at the time. But I saw a very, very scary thing happen. After I started teaching Photoshop, I went and did a class on PageMaker. I did a whole design day on PageMaker. And people were coming up to me. There would be people there who came to the seminar that were typographers, traditional typographers using actual type with plates and the whole 9 yards, coming up to me and telling me that PageMaker would never, ever replace typography, that it was a particular art and it was a craft, and you can't just go into a computer and do it. Dude, it wasn't like 3 years later and then typography was completely gone. I cannot believe how fast that new technology wiped out an entire thing that had been done for 100 years or hundreds of years. Typography was in the old way of doing it. I mean, they typeset the Bible. It's been around a while. So look at that. Jack says, he says, hey, me too. PageMaker was my first application. And then he says, now I feel old. Yikes. Anyway, so I thought that, but I will so remember that. But you know what? When they were telling me this, now I'm teaching a class at PageMaker, and they're telling me that no way is typography ever going away, that no one's really going to use this. It's not serious. It's not proper. It's not right and all this. But I could see the fear in their eyes. I could tell that they were
what
like,
happened.
Now, here's where this break comes into all what we're talking about. There were two types of typographers. Ones that saw where the future was going and embraced it and said, this is a faster way to do it. It does a lot of the work for me, right? I'm not having to, I'm not having to do anything with my hands other than type. I got a mouse, I got a keyboard, I'm all right here. I'm not having to work on these big, the things called letter presses and all this stuff. They weren't have to do any of this stuff, and they either embraced it or they were out of a job. Because you either changed with the times, you took advantage of the new technology, or it literally left you behind.
Oh yeah, and that's what I think. That's the key in this conversation, because I don't think that anybody who embraces this stuff, a robot will ever put them out of a job. The people that don't embrace it and fight it and kind of resist it, they're going to get left by the wayside, just like you're talking about. It doesn't matter what the new thing, the new future technology, the new progress that we're making. If you don't embrace it, you're just going to get left behind.
Great comment here from Ben. I remember hearing about the iPads for the first time. Now I typeset ebooks for tablets. Hey, you know what's interesting, Ben? I did something about this on my blog. You have to go look it up. It would take a little bit, but if you go to my blog, scottkelby.com, and search for iPad. So when the iPad was introduced, there was a list a mile long of reasons why it was going to fail. All these people, and I put all their quotes there, all these quotes of people in big magazines and big newspapers and all, saying the iPad is going to be the biggest failure. It is awful. This thing is a joke. It's terrible. And so after it was a massive success, I ran all their quotes again and just said, people are afraid when something's new. Booksellers are afraid of ebooks. Like I was, because I made my living for many, many years selling print books. I still sell print books. And luckily, there's still people that love the actual printed book. And some lucky person will win one today. But anyway, there were people that are really threatened by it. Now, there are people who write novels, which I think ebooks are the best. Novels on ebook are just phenomenal. But it took a long time for me to get. Do you know that like when they first had ebooks, I didn't want my publisher to convert my books to ebooks because I hated the way they looked. I saw the first version they did of my book, and I was, as an educator, I was embarrassed and I was humiliated. Like this. So they, and God bless Peach Pit Press, they went and redesigned my books for ebook. They didn't just take the print book and make it into an ebook. They said, what if we just start from scratch and redesign? Dude, they took a 500-page book and redesigned it to where each step was on one page.
And now it's getting to the point where they're better.
They are better, but you know what? The format for ebooks called EPUB still sucks. It sucks.
And it will get better.
It will
get better.
But can I tell you something? It's Amazon. So Amazon are the people behind EPUB, right? How can it be this many years? Do you know how many years it's been that we have ebooks on a large scale? Well, it's been since the Kindle and the iPad. 10 years, 11 years,
almost 10 years.
And you can't take a book like this. You can't take an instructional book and just download it to so you're in InDesign, you have the whole layout done. It will save in EPUB format, but it looks like crap.
Yeah.
How is it that we're 10 years into this and it doesn't look right? I know I've diverted from the topic
10
now,
years,
but I still want to complain
about
it. Hey, Crystal says, hey, Scott, this time next week we'll all be at Photoshop World. Woohoo!
There it is.
Bruce Williams says, I cannot live without my printed books. I'd pay triple for a real book. I can absolutely live without novels. I don't ever need to have a novel, you know, or business book or anything like that.
Something that's just there's no examples
but for this
or
kind
images,
of,
are you talking about?
Right. If it's just text only, I don't ever need it. But for this kind of book, and I don't mean just my own books, but like my, you know, my colleagues' books of my colleagues and stuff, I would much prefer those in print. Absolutely.
Well, and I think there's different strokes, different folks, right? You know, so certain people like learn in certain ways, and that's why we've adapted all these different ways for people to learn.
Hey, Jason asks, can you adjust the exposure in the Lightroom book to all images before printing? So you could do that, Jason. So here's what you would do, just in case you know. So first off, to make a book in Lightroom, I always tell people, get a collection together of all the images that you want first. Like, make a collection that has the final images already ready to go. Now, Jason, I can tell you what I'm about to describe to you, I do not do. Because, like I send my books to Blurb, if I print to my printer in my office, right, any printer, an Epson, a Canon, doesn't matter, whatever printer we print to, it always comes out dark. Always, always, always is 20% too dark, hands down. I have to go into the print module of Lightroom. There is a brightness command that just brightens, not your image, but the image that sends down the pipe to your printer. So your image does not change brightness like in the develop module, but when it sends the print, it increases the brightness. It's really brilliant because it doesn't mess with your photo, but it prints brighter. But when I send my books look fine. Like, I have zero problem with my books. Like, they always look okay. I haven't had to have a book reprinted because it was too dark, not a single time. But if you wanted to redo them, here's what you would do. Make your collection with all your photos. Then duplicate the collection. So now, because you don't want to mess with your original photos, and you can actually make all of your images virtual copies if you want. Just make them virtual copies. Select all, go to the exposure, brighten it by like a half a stop or so, make everything about 20% brighter, and that's the book you send to Blurb. It'll even take virtual copies, link to the original, and send up the right stuff, so don't worry about that they're virtual copies. But if you wanted to adjust the brightness for your book, that would do it. But now that I've told you that, I don't ever adjust the brightness for my books. They look fine. So which means at Blurb or something, they must have an algorithm that matches. You know, they must do some kind of print brightening or something. Because if I'm telling you what, if I print off a printer here, it's always, always, always too dark. I've never owned a printer in my life. Well, but think about it this way. This is a backlit screen.
Yeah.
It's very bright. It's very backlit, all that kind of stuff. That's not the case on paper. On paper, the ink is porous. It is a flat 2D image. It's not backlit, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, definitely.
All right. And let's see. Johan says, photography is not about getting the latest technology. It's primarily about creativity and getting the most beautiful shots. Even when Skynet and its robots would take over the world, that will never influence that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now, what if they create a creative robot?
Well, I do think that creativity, that's the hardest thing to create.
Let's talk about this thing, because this is kind of this. So explain this. This is a...
Well, this is another one. This is another one that is out there.
To the,
oh, I don't know. Yeah, this is another one out there. And it's actually for design. It's... again, a machine learning, artificial intelligence way of building logos for companies. So literally you can go in and it asks you a series of questions about your company, what color schemes you like, what kind of images you like. It shows you some logo examples and says, hey, what do you pick 5 of these you like? And then, oh, okay, pick 5 more of these you like. And then at the end, it starts presenting you with all these iterations of your logo. And it starts going, here, maybe you like this. Oh, you don't like that? Here's another 100 examples that you can go through, and it's infinite.
Yeah, like it applies 100 fonts and just
it does different fonts, and then it tells you
to the right.
Hey, just favorite the ones you like, and then as you favorite them, it starts showing you more like that, and it starts getting you down to the graphic and the image you like, and it's all done through just that that predictive intelligence thing, and it's crazy.
All right, so let me ask you, do you know what a logo costs? Like, what's it run?
I think it's like $69, $79.
$69 to have it create a logo. Now, I've seen this. I've gone through the whole thing, the whole demo and stuff.
Yeah.
It actually works amazingly well. This one, of all the things you've talked about today, this one scares me the most. Now, I know that you're not threatened by it, but I will say this. Here's the deal. That thing is replacing a graphic designer. Now, they hired a designer probably at the beginning to go, here is a bunch of, you know.
Yeah, well, they had to teach yeah.
Here's a bunch of logos, and they but at that
you're
point,
right, a few of them were hired, and there was eliminated hundreds.
There is no longer a graphic designer here. So someone is paying, having a graphic design that they like designed, they get their logo designed or whatever it is for $69, and there's no designer involved in this whatsoever. That did put somebody out of business.
It did.
If
possibly.
If this is a big if you agree that the person that did that would have hired a graphic designer.
That's the key. If they're at that point,
right? And so that is a very interesting point to think about, because and people made the same comparison about stock photography. So there was stock photography, which was ridiculously expensive, right? There was a time where I remember I had to license some work for clients back when I was a full-time graphic designer, and you get on the phone and you would have to negotiate a price, you know, with a stock agency, and your client would wind up paying $5,000 for one image, $6,000, $10,000 for one single image. Well, then iStock Photo, I think, kind of created the microstock craze, and you could buy an image for $10, $5. It got down to $1 with Dollar Photo Club, right? $1, one single dollar. The people that bought those $1 things were graphic designers that were never, ever, ever going to buy a $5,000 image. They weren't going to buy a $1,000 image. They weren't going to buy a $100 image. You know how much they'd spend on an image? $1 or $10, and that was pretty much, and that's where it got to. It opened a market of people that were actually paying for photography that never, ever would have bought a stock photo in their entire career.
This is a big topic right there.
That's a bigger topic.
Because you start, that's like, look at iTunes and the music industry, what happened there, and the movie industry, and it's the same thing. And it's all about, those are content creators too. You think about somebody creating music or creating a movie, like they're content creators, and how that content used to be so expensive to buy or to license.
Sure.
And now it's getting down to that it's really affordable to license anything.
Mark Rodriguez says, no, hire a designer like me for your logo design. All right. So for those of you who don't know Mark Rodriguez, I mean, he is a guy that watches the show a lot, but he's won all kinds of awards and stuff. Yeah. He's an unbelievable designer and illustrator. He is really gifted. So here's the thing, Mark. That all sounds good until we get your price. So you're not going to hire someone with Mark's quality. Mark's not going to do a logo for $69. He may charge you $60 for every 10 minutes, but he's not going to design. Well, you don't get to use Mark Rodriguez for $69. He won't even take your call. He won't send you a bid for $69.
But what do you think about, like, see, because that's where I think Adobe's going to go with this, is using technology like this to help a designer get their price lower by iterating through designs faster.
Now, see,
I think that's where it's going.
But here's what I would like to see Adobe do. I want to see Adobe put that technology into InDesign.
That's what I'm saying. I think that will come.
But this is bypassing it. This is hurting designers.
This is hurting designers.
Right. But if Adobe put that in there and said, okay, you come up with a basic logo and we'll create iterations for you, that's different. That's like the.
I think that's where it's going.
That's
I really hope that's where it's going.
Remember the 3D thing? Who was it? Autodesk you showed?
Yeah.
The Autodesk thing was helping the person recreate, because, like, can I tell you something? If you look
iterate, it takes us so long sometimes.
Look at the like. Let's say you take a word like anybody's corporate logo, even Google's or whatever. Like, there's a circle and a word, right? Mm-hmm. That little graphic. There's only so many graphics you can create. I would love to create a graphic. Well, I wouldn't do it because I don't do really graphic design anymore. But if you could take an icon that you make and say, "Computer, make me versions of this," so I could get a unique one. like something different. I would love for me to start it and then let it go.
That's kind of where Adobe was going with that technology with the selfies, where it was saying, here's a picture. I want to apply my picture to that style. That I do think it could get there. Now it's gonna be interesting to see. Does it go this way or that way? It's kind of like, and that's what I was gonna say. I mean, there are times when I think this stuff does have the potential to destroy a lot of jobs.
That
right?
does.
Like, well. I'll say another one that I'm into right now, just is automated driving, right? And being autonomous driving. That will probably one day destroy a lot of jobs,
like the taxi industry,
taxis.
It'll even
truck
destroy
drivers.
Uber will become
all that
driverless.
stuff. I mean, if you think about it, if I could drive my car to a place, park it. If I'm going to be here for 8 to 12 hours a day, I could have my car running around, picking up people and charging people money. I don't even have to have a driver.
So can I give you Terry White's autonomous dream? So Terry told me what his autonomous car dream. Terry has a great dream, and his is so close to being reality, you can't believe it. Terry wants to eliminate the parking hassle. So here's Terry's dream. You come into a parking lot and you want to go to, let's say, P.F. Chang's. I can never find a parking space at P.F. Chang's unless I'm with Calibra. Calibra is, and I'm not making this up, she's the parking fairy. I swear, if you are with Calibra, a parking space will open in the front of anything in the world. Someone will leave. It's like they sense Calibra's coming and everybody moves out of the way. But if I'm by myself, I could circle that parking lot forever. So here's Terry's idea. You pull up in front of P.F. Chang's, you get out of your space.
And you hit park, right?
And you hit park, and your car goes and finds a parking space. Here's what's so great about it. Your car doesn't care whether it's a close parking space. Your car could park in a different parking lot across the street.
Right.
It wouldn't matter. So when you're ready to leave P.F. Chang's, and this is all based on P.F. Chang's, of course. If you're ready to leave P.F. Chang's, you go and say, pick me up. It knows exactly where it dropped you off. And it just drives there, and you look and you see your car pull up out front. You walk outside, you unlock the doors, you climb in, and away you go. Parking worries would be a thing of the past. Your car will just drive to wherever a parking space is.
But I think that we're really only years away from that happening.
That's really close. I think that's close.
That
that's
is probably the closest thing that's
I agree.
Here. Because
really
at low
close.
speeds, there's a lot more you could do a lot more calculate. When you start getting a little faster and a lot of things moving around, but at low speeds like that, I mean, Tesla already has that pretty much perfected. It's not out in the market yet, but I've seen videos of them doing it.
Well, Tesla will auto park your car into a space.
It will actually auto park. They have models that will auto park where you get out of the car and it will go find a parking spot. They just haven't released it to the public yet because they can't get it through regulation. I've seen videos. I could probably find a video of it doing it online. I mean, you can actually watch them doing it. It's now, but that's going to be a year. It's going to be years.
How many years? Give me a number.
Well, Elon Musk, he'll say 6 months, I think is what he said recently.
Hey, have you noticed that
but
all the
6 months means like 3 or 4 years.
All the bad guys in movies today are kind of based on Elon Musk. Do you see that? If you watch the show Timeless on NBC, so it starts off and he's not a bad guy. He's a billionaire. That's kind of messed up and some bad stuff. But he's a billionaire guy in Timeless, and so he meets this. I don't want to break the story, but basically, and you can go see, if you were to go watch the trailer, you would learn this. This guy who is Elon Musk in the TV show creates a time machine, and some people steal it, and they go back through history and try to mess up everything. And you don't know why or anything, and that's what makes the show interesting. But as soon as the first guy meets him, you know how he knows it's based on Elon Musk? He goes, "Hey, my friend has one of your cars."
Yeah, right.
That's the first thing he says. "Yeah, that's great. They're electric." It's like, and the guy's like, well, thanks, But anyway, that's all right. There's a couple of comments. Okay, Susby says Susby's being smart. Susie says that service is called valet.
It is.
All right, Susby. You know what? I will tell you this. There actually is valet at P.F. Chang's, which is why I chose a bad thing. Here's where there's not.
There
you find
it? There's a video.
All right, we're gonna watch this. Hold on, pause that. We're gonna watch this video because we just are. All right, but so Susby, there are certain places with valet parking, but there's lots that aren't. Like CVS. You ever go to CVS? Sometimes it's like super packed. Walmart. I know that you live at Walmart. You're just there.
Oh yeah, all the time.
He loves it. Okay, let's use a more realistic one for Eric. Target. You like Target? Everybody loves Target. You go to Target.
Amazon.
You can't park at Amazon.
Oh, that's where I love.
I know. He is Mr.
Which,
Amazon.
speaking of Amazon, not to divert, but big news in the Amazon world is that Amazon actually now supports Apple CarPlay, which has changed my whole commute. Anyways, continue.
I don't get it. Apple supports Apple.
Amazon Music supports Apple CarPlay, so now I can stream all my Amazon music right to my car.
Do you have Apple CarPlay?
Yeah, I love it.
I don't have it.
Love it.
All right.
Anyways,
Let's
back to the topic.
Somebody said our next critique episode should be about photographers' logos. Can I tell you something? That would be a really boring episode, and here's why. Every photographer's logo either has a shutter, you know, the open, you know, the blades of the shutter. That's like, I'm a photographer, blades of shutter, or the outline of a camera. It's A or B. It's true. It's proven fact.
Yep.
Proven fact. Hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a break. When we come back, exciting things. Erik's going to show this video, and we're going to talk some more. We're going to take your questions. We got giveaways. We have love. We're going to read Gary Clark's comment because it's a really good one. Love. And don't go away. We'll be right back here as robots take over the grid. Don't go away. Robot camera right there. Robot. Juan's a robot.
Well, hi everybody, Scott Kelby here. I want to tell you about my brand new class. It's called the 7-Point System for Lightroom. So this is a system I actually developed years ago. It was one of my best-selling books called the 7-Point System for Photoshop. But today, Lightroom is our workflow, and I've updated the 7-Point System to how we use Lightroom and how we use this system today with all the latest stuff. You're going to learn exactly what to do, when to do it, and exactly why to do it. The great thing about it is it's just 7 things. Once you know these 7 things, you'll be able to look at every image. You'll be able to know what to do first, what to do next, what to do last. You got finishing moves and the whole 9 yards. Go to kelby1.com, take the 10-day free trial, and watch this class right now. It will change the way you work in Lightroom forever. And you'll find this class exclusively at kelby1.com.
I've been here 4 times. I continue to learn new and fabulous things about photography and Photoshop and Lightroom.
If you come here with one thing on your mind, you're probably going to end up leaving with interest in other areas.
You want to stay in the know and stay on the cutting edge. This is the place to do it.
Anyone that has a passion for creative things, photography, design, they attend Photoshop World.
All righty. Hey, so Scott Kelby here with Erik Kuna. First, Soosby wins the tweet of the week.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a drinking game when Erik is on. Anytime Erik mentions Amazon, you take a drink.
Yep.
Boy, people would be plastered. Yeah. All right. Chris Wiley says, hey, don't knock it, Scott. Your logo has a camera in it. Sure, and then he wrote, LOL. All right. Hey, I'm going to show you something. Can I show you this? I'm going to get my logo. Hold on one second. I got to figure out where it's at. I have one right here. All right, because this is sad and true. Here we go. Are we on? Oh, I'm not in control room 2. I like the way it just says you're not on here anymore. All right, you can just look at it. So here's mine. It is a camera and a book. See how it's like a one piece, right? Mm-hmm. It's designed by Felix Nelson. I love that logo. Camera into a book, like a picture book. And you know why I have a camera in my logo? Because it is an international law for photographers. You must include a camera in your icon. It's a law.
Yeah.
Dave Clayton's here. Dave Clayton in the house. We're going to see Dave Clayton next week.
Next week. And
then Dave Clayton's going to be our guest on the grid coming up. It's going to be the best grid ever when Dave Clayton's on, because it just will be. Dave says,
Dave
have you
seen some other stuff around here?
Have you seen the new Adobe / Cornell photo merging AI? Have you seen that?
Oh, maybe. Or no.
All right, I'll go look it up while Erik's showing his video. So we have a couple of comments. We're going to look at videos. So Loopy Bridget says, I'm looking for a logo for my photography, but I don't want to learn how to create one myself. Where does one go to get one designed? Well, what was the name of that service?
Logo Joy.
Logo Joy. Now, Loopy, if you are A, a rich doctor, B, a Wall Street executive, C, a personal injury attorney, call Mark Rodriguez and have him design it for you. And, well, there you
He'll
go.
be much better than that.
All right. Gary Clark says, I printed a few books on Blurb. He says he's in the UK after watching Scott's class on creating a wedding album. Very pleasantly surprised as to how well the color and exposure matches the original image. They must have some kind of algorithm that does it. Margaret says,
there are some really good people reviewing it.
Oh, yeah. Now, it could be actually literally that. It could
I mean,
be,
a lot of times that's what those guys have.
Well, I know, like, if you send stuff to MPix, like if you send prints,
they have a whole room.
They have a room, just a giant room full of people, and images come up on screen, and they correct them, they color them, and they are so good. So at MPix, they don't use Photoshop, or they use some kind of a plugin or something for it.
Yeah, it's
they have these dials and they do everything,
yeah.
and these people are so good. And I remember standing in the back of the room and looking at just banks of people color correcting, and so
like
the images
cave
come.
too.
Yeah,
it's like a
it's
dark.
huge. It's like a science fiction thing. Pictures appear on their screen, they color correct it, and it moves on. Next, because all it is, if you check a box on their site and say, color correct my photos, they'll color correct them. Can I tell you what was weird and that was unexpected? I'm sitting there watching all these pictures come up, and then you'll see a picture, and naked pictures start coming up on somebody's screen. Like, and then, oh, there's more naked ones over here. And they didn't seem to flinch. They just kept color correcting. Naked. I've seen a million of these. Naked. They're like a doctor after all. I'm a doctor. I've seen this. Go, naked, nude. But I'm sitting there like it's the first time going,
whoa, what's going on?
This is crazy. There's naked. Stop. What? Look away. Look away. Fernando wants to know, will we have a grid episode next week? Eric?
We're trying.
Yeah, we're going to do it from on location at Photoshop World. We are. We're
still trying to figure it out.
We have a meeting tomorrow to figure out how we're going to do it so it comes out better than what we did at B&H.
We're supposed to have a meeting today, but somebody's meeting ran really long.
My meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My meetings tend to do that. All right. Yeah. Margaret says, love my books and want to have you autograph them when you're at Photoshop World. Yeah, bring them. I'm doing a book signing at Photoshop World, Margaret. I would love to sign your books. Absolutely. Dave Clayton on the grid. That must involve some singing, right? Oh, yeah. Last time he was on the grid, we did that Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Yep.
Maybe we'll do another song. I'll get my amp out. We'll do a little Dave Clayton song.
There you go.
He loves to sing. The guy loves to sing. He's all about singing. All right, we're going to look at Eric's.
So Terry White's thing is actually, I mean, I don't think we're that far. I mean, we're
still got to send this to Terry.
We still are a little bit away.
With it. Yeah, here we go. All right, so this is the Tesla demo. It says, watch a fully autonomous Tesla drive through the city and find a parking. This is Terry's dream right here. This is his dream. Hey, what was it supposed to be looking up while this is going?
Oh, what was that? So this is crazy. The guy gets out of the car, so he pulls up to work. There's the Tesla office. There's their little drone. You can see a little drone that they're flying around there. He gets out of the office, and it goes and parks itself in the parking lot. Crazy. And this actually was the end of last year. So they have the technology. It's just caught up in a lot of regulation right now.
Dude, send me that link, would you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's great. I mean, it'll stop for people. It'll do all that stuff.
Hey, dude, if it doesn't stop for people, this is going to be the shortest lived technology.
Like, done.
Ooh, hit another guy.
Done.
Ooh, there goes a nun. Ooh, that was an unfortunate one. Oh, there goes a kid. Yeah, that would be horrible.
Anything to solve Terry White's problem.
That would be.
I mean, it's crazy.
Look at this parallel parking too, like a boss.
Oh yeah. And
I had no idea.
It's like, whoa.
All right, so what is stopping this from being released? Why can't they do this?
Well,
now?
They have to do a bunch of testing, a bunch of regulation. Yeah, but I mean, there's all that stuff.
Aren't there autonomous taxis right now? Like in some city, they're testing in a bunch of.
Yeah, they have been, but they've been running into issues. That was actually. Wasn't it? It was Uber was doing it, in San Francisco, but they got in a bunch of trouble because actually none of that. The regulations is what's stopping it right now. You know, but again, so all that aside, like that is going to. There are times when stuff does put certain people out of business. I mean, for example, I mean, I know right here, like, so we broadcast out from this facility, right? And we have a piece of hardware that when it came out, it eliminated like 5 positions that you used to need. So basically, Meredith does the work of like 5 people right now.
Hey, by the way, Meredith does the work of 5 people all the time.
That's true. That's true. But this device, right? So it's like you used to have on a production, you used to have this person and this person and this person. This device comes out. Suddenly, I only need one, and it's like, well, you just eliminated 4 jobs. I mean, come on.
Those people went back and learned how to do typography, the old-fashioned way with hot type. All right. So Jock says, hey, at the Photoshop World taping of the grid, how about showing us what regular grid chatters look like? And here's like a cameo appearance of Bruno, etc. That would be kind of interesting.
We could do. So we have a meeting tomorrow. Hopefully, if Scott's meetings don't go too long, to talk about that.
That was totally unnecessary. That comment. That was like absolutely unnecessary.
No, we'll figure out a play. I mean, that's what Meredith and I were kicking around some ideas earlier before, and I think we could come up with something like that, where we could have maybe some cameos.
Cool.
That would be cool.
Some cameos. I know Fernando's going to be there,
or at least a live audience. We could definitely have a live audience.
Yeah, but we should have the live audience only be like grid regulars, like secret insider grid people.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. I don't know how we'll do it.
We should do it in the pool. We're all floating. We did an episode like that. So years ago, when we were building a new grid set,
we
were building a set. So it took forever. It's supposed to like take 2 weeks. It was like 8 weeks. We did episodes. Oh, it was Photoshop User TV. We did episodes on the golf course at Dave Cross's pool. We did one episode in Corey Barker's, the back of his Mini Cooper. All right, Loopy says, hey, since I'll be going to Dunedin right after Photoshop World next week, can I stop by the Kelby One headquarters on Sunday on my way back home to North Carolina? Will anybody be there? I got to tell you, Loopy Bridget, I haven't seen a whole lot of people here on a Sunday. No. Saturday, there's a reasonable chance. Sunday, I'm not thinking so. No. Now, Monday, we'll all be here. We would love to have you come by. We will give you a super mega tour, but it'll have to be Monday. It can be Monday morning. It's okay. We would love to have you come by and give you a tour. But Sunday, it's not looking good. Sunday, it's a day of rest at Kelby One. Hey, you know what? We better wrap this show up. Scott says, somebody says, look this up. Adobe's experimental app copies one photo style to another. We saw that at the beginning of the show.
And I think maybe that's where Dave was talking about. Yeah, we showed that at the beginning of the show.
We did show that at the beginning of the show. We did. All right. So a couple little things before we blast out of here. You know, Frank Duroff's coming to America. He's coming to America
today.
Frank's coming to America. Thank you for the backup. I appreciate that. All right. Now, the first person who mentions who sang the song Coming to America gets some kind of prize. Let's see what we got to give away. We'll give you something from the grid. You know what we'll send you? This is a great prize. One of the old windscreens.
Ooh,
it's a collector's item. Nobody has those.
You could even sign it in like one of those.
We'll sign it in silver and it was a signed. What is it called? Windscreen.
Yeah.
First person that says who did the song Coming to America, which Eric and I did a beautiful rendition of just now. So just drop us a line right here on the, it's not part of the contest. Just put it in the comments. And then Rachel. Hey, Rachel, you've done quite a good job today, by the way. You were a very, very wonderful stand-in for Jen. And she is actually
somebody won.
She is vice president of commentating. So, or also known as the first runner-up in commentating. So if Jen is unable to perform her duties as the pageant queen of comments, then the first runner-up assumes her duties, which Rachel has done amply today. Thank you, Rachel. Well done. It's Rubino Wen. I met her yesterday. I kid you not. She comes up. She's at my seminar in Detroit, and she comes up and she goes, "I'm Rubino Wen," and I paused for a moment and I went,
"Oh, hey,
you're Robin Owen." So anyway, hi. Very nice to see you. I got to give a shout out to Rubino Wen. But yeah, I met the actual Robin in person. So
awesome.
Robin Owen. Or Rubino Wen.
Rubino Wen.
I butchered her name. She even said, "You butchered my name so badly." And I'm like, "You don't understand. It's a lot of pressure."
Capital, letters.
There's capital letters and there's weird. It's a lot of pressure. Yeah. Very, very. I've even given up on people's last name. Usually I just would say Robin, but I couldn't figure it out. It was like Rubino Wen.
Well, especially
I met her in person.
There
That
you
was
go.
pretty cool. It's like nice, really nice to put a face with a name, you know, which is kind of what somebody was asking for just a minute ago. All right, back to Frank Doerhoff. Did I mention Frank Doerhoff? He's coming to America
today.
He's coming in April. I think April 30th. He's coming to New Jersey. He had a choice of the entire United States. Could have gone to anywhere, 50 states. Chose New Jersey. This is what happens when someone from a foreign country looks at a map and says, well, that's close to New York. We'll go there. Anyway.
Hey, Frank's got an awesome book. It's on Amazon.
Oh. Yes, he does. Frank has that book, and you can buy a lot of memorabilia like Garden State logos from Amazon.
Amazon.
Frank only has a couple spots left. It is with him and his stylist and model, Nadine, is going to be there as well. April 30th in Little Falls, New Jersey. That sounds like a nicer place than like Newark, right? Little Falls, probably very nice. There's some beautiful parts of New Jersey, and they're apparently all in Little Falls. Anyway, go to frankdoerhoff.com/site/New Jersey, new-Jersey. And you can sign up right there because it's very rare for Frank to come to America for stuff. He's coming for Photoshop World, and he's going to Jersey. All right, our giveaways. Today's giveaways are 2, not 1, but 2 gift cards from Lens Pro to go. You can rent lenses, you can rent lights, you can rent whatever. 2 awesome people. Only enter this part of the contest if you are from the United States, because they're not going to rent you this in Estonia. You have to be American. All right, and living in America. Okay, because you could be an American living in Estonia, they still won't ship it. All right, so here's where you go to enter the contest for that or the Spiral Bound Select Collector's Limited Edition, Collectors and all that stuff. Edition.
And if you don't want the Spiral Bound,
go to kelby1.com
Amazon
/contest. Hold on, I gotta take a drink. Right. Go to kelby1.com/contest. Give us your name. Tell us whether you either want to win the Lens Pro to Go gift card or the book. And we'll, and also, I will also get, I'm going to throw in 2 more prizes. Ready? If you want to attend either my Lightroom seminar coming up in Minneapolis next month or Indianapolis. I met the guy yesterday who won the grid giveaway for Detroit. I met him yesterday. He came up and said, thank you. Very nice guy. And won it here on the grid.
Very cool.
There you go. So miracles do happen. Anyway, if you want to go to either Minneapolis, just write the word Minneapolis, or Indianapolis. Both of those are next month. It's my Lightroom tour and going to have lots of fun. Looking forward to it. Now, there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Oh, I'm gonna wind up with a quick story here. Now, some of you that watch the grid religiously already know this story, but I told this story to a guy yesterday. So this book, I held it up and it reminded me. So can we get a close up of this book? Can we get? Because I think we have this part. I'm gonna get it in the right angle. There we go. All right. So this book. See the cover here? It's about the cover of this book. So I have to open to a particular page in the book because it's part of the story. Okay. So I do this book, all right, it's my Lightroom CC book for digital photography. It's out there. And then I get contacted by an attorney who says, hi, I'm an attorney in New York City. My name is whatever, attorney name is, threatening sounding name. And he said, I represent the model on the cover of your book, and her picture was used without an authorization, without a model release, and we are intending to pursue for damages. And I wrote back and I said, hey, scary sounding attorney. I do have a signed model release and full permission from this model. This is someone I've worked with before. And so we're good. Thanks for writing in though. Be good. He writes back and says, no, I'm sorry. I've talked to the model and she said she never gave authorization for her picture to be used on that cover. And I have a signed model release and I know it. So so he gives me the model's name and it is not the name of the model that is on the cover of this book. And so I write back and I go, hey, just a note, you're representing Michelle somebody. And I'm like, this is not Michelle, this is Kristen. She does not live in New York City. She lives here in Florida. And I shot her many times. And I always get a signed model release and write back. So I write back to him and he goes, nope, that's not her, that's my client. And so I sent him a cover of the book. Is this the book you're talking about? Is this the one? He goes, yep, and that's my client on the cover. So I sent a text to Brad and say, hey, Brad, you know, and I tell him the story, and Brad's like, what? And I'm like, what? And Brad's like, what? So anyway, so Brad goes and looks up the model's website. She is a spitting image, like her twin of the model on the cover here.
Oh, wow.
But it's not the same person. Here's what I did. And I went, wait a minute. And I opened the book to page 514. And if you could have to get in really tight here, I actually had a behind-the-scenes photo of the picture being taken. So here's what the attorney was saying. The model thought that I had taken her face and composited it into the fur. That this, it's fake fur, by the way. The fake fur that is on the cover or inside here. So if you look back at the cover, you can see she's got like a hood on that is made of fur. It's fake fur, of course, but anyway. So I send him the behind the scenes photo, and I don't hear anything for about an hour, and then he writes back, my client has relented. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. That was just a very weird. That was extremely weird. But you know what? It looked like a
model release. Yeah.
Dude, it looked like her. It really did. I mean, but imagine how much it has to look like it. Like you look at a picture of yourself and go, "That's me," and it's not you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that really has to look very much alike. All right. Well, folks, we've had a wonderful time here. Eric, thank you very much for being on the guest today. Me. Absolutely. Juan, you've done an admirable job running multiple cameras, including the camera that unemployed someone who would slowly move it along a track. That was known as a slow-moving track operator, and now he's gone. Rachel, nice job. In the booth, Meredith, as always.
Way to do 5 people's job.
Way to do 5 people's job. Thank you guys for watching. We're looking forward to meeting so many of you. For those of you who are regular grid people, look out for our secret grid meetup. Doing a secret meetup of cool grid people at Photoshop World to all get together and we all get hands and then we form a circle and then we create like a squirrel or something, a giant squirrel. It takes stacking people up. Rachel is like, I've got to never do this again. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We look forward to seeing you guys next week in Orlando, where we're broadcasting live from there. And looking forward to meeting a bunch of you in person. We'll see you there. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
He's coming.